Today's topic is honestly one of my favorites. We're talking about travel, specifically how to remember common English phrases when you're traveling.
Oh, this is such a good one. Because I think a lot of people can relate to this. You study English, you feel pretty good about it, and then you go to the airport or a hotel, and suddenly your brain just freezes.
Oh, completely freezes. Your mouth is open and nothing comes out.
Exactly. And it's not because you don't know English, it's because you haven't practiced the right phrases in the right way. And that's what we're going to fix today.
Before we get into it, we always love hearing from you guys. Tell us in the comments, where do you want to travel? Where's your dream destination? Write it below. We read every single comment.
I know I'm always saying Italy.
Every time. Okay, let's jump in. So let's start with something important. Why are travel phrases different from regular English? Because you might be thinking, I know English, so I'll be fine traveling. And that's kind of true, but not completely.
Right. Travel English is a very specific kind of English. When you're at a hotel, at the airport, booking a tour, talking to a taxi driver, there are certain phrases that come up again and again. And if you learn those specific phrases, you'll feel so much more confident.
And the thing is, these phrases are not complicated. They're actually pretty simple. It's more about knowing which ones to focus on and then being able to use them quickly, like without thinking too hard.
Yeah, you want the phrase to come out naturally, not like you're reciting something you memorized in school. Because when you're nervous, at customs, let's say, the last thing you want is to be translating in your head while someone's waiting for your answer.
Exactly. So today we're going to talk about how to actually get these phrases into your brain in a way that sticks, not just reading them once and forgetting them.
Real techniques. Practical stuff you can start doing today.
Okay, so let's talk about the most common situations you'll face when traveling in an English-speaking country. What would you say are the big ones?
Oh, definitely the airport first. Check-in, security, boarding, then the hotel. And then just getting around. Taxis, asking for directions, ordering food.
Yes, and I'd add one more, shopping, because everyone wants to go shopping when they travel.
Huh, true. Can't forget that.
So let's start at the airport. This is where a lot of people feel the most stressed. You've just landed, you're tired, maybe a little jet-lagged, and now you have to speak English. Fun times.
So stressful. Okay, what are the must-know airport phrases?
Let's go through some of the most important ones. Number 1, I'd like to check in, please. Super simple. You walk up to the airline desk and that's your opener.
And here's a tip for remembering it. Connect it to a visual. Every time you imagine yourself walking up to that airport counter, say that phrase out loud in your head. I'd like to check in, please. Do that a few times and it starts to feel automatic. That's such a good technique. We'll talk more about that later. Another important one is, how much is the baggage fee? Because unfortunately, baggage fees are a thing. A very real thing. And then at security, you might hear, please remove your shoes and belt. And you should know how to respond. Usually you just say, of course, or sure, no problem. Right. You don't need a long response. Short, natural answers are totally fine. And that's something a lot of learners forget. You don't need to sound like a textbook. You just need to communicate. Okay, here's a question for our listeners.
Okay, let's move on to the hotel. You've made it through the airport, you're at your hotel, and it's time to check in.
The classic phrase here is, I have a reservation under the name, and then your name. Nice and straightforward.
And then if something's wrong with your room, maybe it's too noisy or the air conditioning isn't working, you can say, excuse me, I have a small problem with my room. Could you help me?
I love how you said small problem. That's actually a really smart tip for hotel situations. Don't start with, this is terrible, even if it is. Starting politely almost always gets you better results.
So true. And that's kind of a cultural thing, too. In English-speaking countries, especially in the UK and the US, indirect and polite phrasing goes a long way.
Some other good hotel phrases? Could I get a wake-up call at 7, please? Or, is breakfast included? Or, is there Wi-Fi in the room? which honestly is probably the most important question of any trip.
100%. So, for our listeners, here's a quick comment prompt. Tell us, what's the first thing you check when you get to a hotel room? Is it the Wi-Fi, the view, the bed? Let us know.
I'm going to guess the Wi-Fi password gets checked within the first 60 seconds for most people.
Without a doubt.
Okay, so we've been talking about specific phrases. Now let's get into the how. How do you actually remember all of these?
So the first technique, and this is one of my favorites, is what language learners call chunking. And basically what that means is instead of learning phrases as individual words, you group them by situation.
Right, so instead of learning check, in, reservation, luggage as separate vocabulary words, you learn the whole chunk together. I'd like to check in. I have a reservation. You learn it as one unit.
And the reason this works is because our brains don't really think in individual words. They think in meaning. When you need to say something at the airport, your brain isn't searching for words one by one. Or it shouldn't be. You want to retrieve the whole phrase as a unit. So a really practical way to do this is to group your phrases by scenario. You make a list for the airport, a list for the hotel, a list for restaurants, and you practice each list as a whole set, not individually. You can even write little mini scripts, like a pretend conversation you might have at check-in. You play both roles. You ask the question, you answer it. It feels silly at home, but it really works. I've done this. I'm not even going to pretend I haven't. Talking to myself in the mirror, practicing, "Can I see the menu, please?" And you know what? That kind of practice is actually really effective. Okay, technique number 2, and this one is a little more sciencey, but stick with me, is called spaced repetition.
Oh, this is a big one. Can you explain it?
So basically, the idea is that you don't learn something once and then forget about it. You review it at increasing intervals. So you learn a phrase today, you review it tomorrow, then 3 days later, then a week later, then 2 weeks later.
And each time you review it right before you would normally forget it, your brain goes, oh, this must be important, and it stores it more deeply.
Exactly. And there are apps that do this automatically. Anki is a really popular one. You put in your travel phrases as flashcards, and the app tells you when to review each one based on how well you remember it.
So you're not wasting time reviewing things you already know really well. You spend more time on the ones you keep forgetting.
Which is so much more efficient than just reading a list of phrases over and over in one sitting.
Right, because we've all done that. We sit down, we read through the whole list, we feel great, and then 2 days later, completely gone.
It's because you didn't space it out. Your brain needs time to consolidate the information. Sleep actually plays a big role in this too. You learn something, you sleep, and your brain processes it while you're sleeping.
So this is your official permission to say that sleeping is part of your English learning routine.
Absolutely. Get your 8 hours. It's for your English.
Okay, technique number 3, and this might be the most important one. Use the phrases in real life before your trip.
And I know what some people are thinking, but I'm not in an English-speaking country. Doesn't matter. You can still practice.
Exactly. Think about it. When do you use phrases like, could I have the bill, please? Or do you have a table for 2? You use them at restaurants, in your own city. So next time you go out to eat, practice in English in your head. Or if there's a place in your city that serves tourists, try actually speaking some of it.
Another option, role play with a friend who's also learning English. It might feel awkward. Do it anyway. The slight discomfort of practicing with a friend is so much better than the bigger discomfort of going blank in a real situation.
And you can do it online too. There are so many conversation partners on apps like Tandem or HelloTalk. You can specifically ask to practice travel scenarios.
The whole point is that language is a skill, not just knowledge. You can know every phrase in your textbook and still freeze up if you've never actually produced those phrases under pressure. The practice has to be active. Think of it like learning to drive. Reading about driving doesn't teach you to drive. You have to get behind the wheel. Good analogy. Really good analogy.
Technique number 4 is one that
Okay, Let's do a quick fire round. We're going to go through some of the most useful travel phrases across different situations, and we'll add a little context for each one. Ready?
Let's go.
At a restaurant, could I see the menu, please? And if you don't understand something on it, could you explain what this is? Nobody's going to judge you for asking.
At a taxi or rideshare, could you take me to this address, please? And if you want to make sure about the price, how much will this cost?
At a tourist attraction, do you have tickets available for today? Or is there a student discount? Always ask about discounts, people.
Shopping. Could I try this on? And do you have this in a different size? And my personal favorite, is this on sale?
That one's universal. And if you don't understand the price, sorry, could you write that down for me? Because numbers across accents can be tricky.
Asking for directions. Excuse me, I'm looking for the train station. Could you point me in the right direction? And you know what? Even if their answer is complicated, just say, thank you so much, and then use your Maps app.
That is actually what most people do. Don't be embarrassed about it. One more.
If you're in a difficult situation and you need serious help, I need assistance, please. Can someone help me? Simple, clear, it works.
These are your travel toolkit. Learn them, practice them, use them.
Okay, we have a bonus tip before we wrap up. And this one is something you can do right now, tonight, without leaving your couch.
Watch travel content in English. YouTube travel vlogs, travel shows, hotel review videos, anything where you're seeing real travel situations with real English. The reason this works is that you're hearing travel phrases in context. You're seeing them used naturally. So when you actually arrive at that airport check-in desk, it doesn't feel completely new. Your brain has already seen something like this before. And it's enjoyable. It doesn't feel like studying. You're watching someone explore Tokyo or Paris or New York, and you're picking up English along the way. Some good ones to check out. Any travel vlog with subtitles is great. Start with the subtitles on, and as you get more comfortable, try turning them off for parts of it. The goal is to get your ear tuned in to natural spoken English in travel contexts. Grammar doesn't help you if you can't process what someone's saying at normal speed. Such a good point. Okay, before we get to our closing, another comment prompt. Have you ever used travel YouTube videos to practice English? What's your favorite travel channel? Tell us below.